Hello, my friends. As we can see, the situation along the front line worsens each day, with Russian forces continuing to advance. In fact, even in the Chernihiv region, they found a small area convenient for capturing and holding, allowing them to draw our troops away from key frontline positions. They are focused on capturing as much Ukrainian territory as possible ahead of any negotiations. So far, no new offensive actions have been reported here, but a 4-kilometer stretch and 3 villages are now under Russian control. In the Kursk direction, there are no major changes yet, but shelling continues. According to preliminary reports, North Korean forces may already be participating in offensive operations under the guise of Buryat troops, possibly using this opportunity to observe actual combat formations in action. For now, the front line remains stable, so we'll keep watching for further developments. In the Kharkiv direction, the Russians have also decided to break through in a new direction to pull our forces to a different section of the front. They've advanced 2 kilometers and 100 meters and are attempting to push further towards the village of Kozacha Lopan. The situation is challenging as the Russians are actively supporting the offensive with artillery targeting Ukrainian positions. The element of surprise has worked in their favor, allowing them to make some progress. We'll see how the situation unfolds in the coming days. In Vovchansk, fighting is ongoing with renewed assaults near the village of Tykhe, although no breakthroughs have been reported here. In the Kupiansk direction, the situation has significantly worsened. The Russians have started attacks in a new direction and have already managed to seize some Ukrainian positions, with fighting reported around Novomlinsk. It's possible they aim to break through to encircle Dvorichna, though the current front line runs along the river, which will likely slow any large advances. However, south of this area, the Russians have pushed closer to Kupiansk, with only a small river now separating them from the city. They are attempting to advance towards Holubivka to cross the river and to launch an assault from the north on Kupiansk. Although they haven't succeeded here yet, they've managed to move closer to Kindrashivka, where the situation is gradually deteriorating. They are working to extend their northern flank while simultaneously trying to advance southward in the Novosilka and Kolesnikivka areas, where the front line remains unchanged for now. In the Borova direction, the situation is extremely difficult. The Russians have crossed the reservoir and are now assaulting Senkove, which is a concerning development. It seems that they have no intention of stopping at the water barrier and are advancing further wherever possible. Fierce battles continue for control of Zaporizhzhia, with ongoing assaults on Nova Kruglяківка, Lozova, Vishneva, and Kopanki. However, in Kopanki, Ukrainian forces managed to push them back. Further south, the situation remains stable for now, and Russian activity has decreased. In the Kreminna direction, the Russians have been unable to push Ukrainian forces across the water barrier, and for the time being, all their attacks have halted. The only ongoing action is shelling of Lyman, but there have been no changes on the front line over the past day. in the Siversk direction. Unfortunately, the Russians have made significant advances. They've captured Verkhnyokamyansk and having pushed closer to Siversk, are now nearing their primary objective in this area. Their next goal appears to be strengthening the front line, and attacks on Siversk are expected to begin soon, with new reserves already being brought in to support these operations. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the Russians continue attempting to push through the city. Heavy fighting is also underway near the village of Stupochki, creating a highly challenging situation. Ukrainian forces have indicated there is a strong chance of losing yet another city, which could shift the fighting closer to Kostantinivka. However, over the past day, there have been no significant changes along the front line, and Ukrainian forces continue to hold their defense. In the Toretsk direction, the situation remains challenging as the Russians continue relentless assaults on Sherbinivka and Delyivka. While no new advances have been recorded, Ukrainian forces report a gradual need to retreat under their continuous onslaught. In the Pokrovsk direction, Ukrainian forces had managed to hold the front line steady for a considerable period. However, confirmation came last night that Russian forces broke through the railway line, capturing part of the village of Zhovte, with the remainder now a contested zone. They have also taken control of Grigorivka, advancing 1 kilometer and 700 meters. They've moved closer to the villages of Zelene and Novy Trud, which has seriously worsened the situation as they each toward Pokrovsk. Currently, the front line is just 4 kilometers and 700 meters from the outskirts of Pokrovsk. Ukrainian forces on the ground have described the situation, saying, the village of Zhovte is under Russian control. Though not entirely, they are still conducting sweeps. To be frank, on certain sections of the front, we are struggling to stop this horde, as they are widening their assault toward the west of Selidove and heading towards Pokrovsk. I'm certain they'll reach it, though how long it will take, I don't know, but it will happen soon. You've probably already seen how Pokrovsk is prepared for defense. It pains me, but it's also laughable. If we want to win, then someone should set up defenses because we still have people willing to fight and defend. If we don't establish strong defensive lines, then we may as well turn around and deal with those who betrayed us and forced us to die here without fortified strongholds. In the Kurakhove direction, the situation is rapidly deteriorating. At the time of creating this video, there is no official confirmation that Ukrainian forces have withdrawn from Yelizavetivka, but it's clear that 4 nearby villages are in a precarious situation. The Russians continue the assault, so the Ukrainian forces will likely have to fall back. Fighting also persists around Kurakhove, then Berestki, which is here, Sontsivka, Zorya, and Novodmitrivka. Russian forces remain highly active, gradually advancing in this area. The situation near Velyka Novosilka is also critical. Late yesterday, Ukrainian forces reported that Rozdolne has completely fallen to the Russians. Just early in the day, confirmation had come through that Russian forces had reached the main road, and by the evening the village was taken. Ukrainian troops described the situation as follows. The Russians have captured Rozdolne and have started pushing our units of the stronghold along the road between Bagatyr and Velyka Novosilka. If they seize control of this stronghold, hold. The road to Novy Komar will be wide open. There are not enough infantry in this section of the front. We simply don't have enough manpower to hold critical strongholds on the outskirts of the town. While some guys are sitting around gaming and drinking in bars, we are lacking ground troops on the front lines. This is an ominous sign because once the Russians realize the gaps in our personnel here or there, the front line could quickly fall apart. Additionally, the Russians are trying to encircle Velyka Novosilka, advancing toward Novosilka. Fighting also continues for Makarivka, and shelling of Velyka Novosilka hasn't ceased. Overall, it's evident that the situation here has worsened, and Ukrainian forces are sounding the alarm. We are now only 7 kilometers from the administrative border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. More than a year of relative calm, yet the Velyka Novosilka direction was never properly prepared for defense. This mistake could lead to Russian forces bypassing decent defense lines on the Zaporizhzhia front, just as they did in Ocheretine. Watching the front crumble, not mining the forward positions or building quality fortifications is nothing but sheer negligence. If there is any fortification being built, it's civilian contractors digging unfortified trenches where it's easiest, not where it's strategically needed. After all, why fortify in the forest lines behind Pokrovsk, Velyka Novosilka, and other key towns? If it's too difficult to dig there, they can just dig in the open field. 100 kilometers from the front, it's faster and safer for managed funds. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, no active combat has been recorded yet, but unfortunately, experts predict that Russian forces may soon begin to escalate here as well, which would make the situation even more challenging across the front line. In the Kherson direction, things remain unchanged. Russian forces continue attempting to advance onto the islands, but the Ukrainian forces are eliminating them as they do. Attacks on the right bank also persist, but there have been no significant changes over the past day. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.